Today we're going to talk all things careers. My name is Josh Gon. I'm the program director here at Avance Latino, here to bring you the latest and greatest information on topics about personal finance, careers, and so much more topics. Before we start this presentation, please be sure to share this with your friends and family, especially if you know a young person that's in high school, middle school, or in college, or maybe for yourself that doesn't really know what their career, job, entrepreneurship, whatever journey you want to end up doing. And if that's you, this is the video for you. This is going to be a video where we're going to talk all things careers, talk about taxes, talk about your paycheck, talk about work benefits, talk about all the things you need. It's almost like employee 101, everything you got to know, right? But not just employee, because we're going to talk a little bit also about entrepreneurship and different career paths that you can take. Super important. You watch this video to the very end because it's going to be filled with a lot of great information. We like to keep it short, so it's not going to be an hour, 2 hour. We're going to keep it at like 20-ish minutes. All right, let's get into it. So career options, working hard for the money. Now, the objective for today, there's 4 objectives. We're going to identify career options, the education or training that is required or needed for different careers. Talk about different, we're going to name sources of income. So not just salary, but other sources of income. Explain the relationship between income and taxes and go over benefits. And lastly, demonstrate how to research and analyze different careers. This is going to be a session where we're going to empower you. It's not just going to be informational, but you're going to leave the session with the knowledge and tools that you can find your dream job, your career path, or maybe you end up deciding becoming an entrepreneur. Whatever that might be, this workshop is going to help you be able to find that journey for yourself. All right, let's go. So let's talk about dream jobs. So here's a couple of questions you can ask yourself when you're thinking about your dream, quote unquote dream job. What are your interests and what excites you? What are things that get you excited? Are you a numbers guy? Do you like numbers? You like math, right? Or do you hate that? Do you hate math? Are you a team player? You like working in teams, working with people? Do you like managing people? Like, what are some interests of you? What are some things that you enjoy? Do you enjoy sports? Do you enjoy computers? Do you enjoy working with children? Like, what do you enjoy? So start thinking of those things. What are you good at and what skills do you have? Are you good? Are you good at manager? You like to manage tasks? Are you very organized? Are you good at whatever it is? Think about those skills that you have. These are important questions you should be asking yourself. The next question you should ask yourself is, what do you want to do after high school or college or after your current role or position or job or whatever? Because it's not just for high school students. Maybe you already have a job, but you hate it. You don't like it. And you're like, man, this is not where I want to be in 10, 15, 20 years. So you got to ask yourself, what do you want to do after this? Now, the next question is, what is your dream job and why? And you know what? That question is kind of hard because maybe you don't know what your dream job is. You just know what you like to do. So we'll skip that one for now because maybe it might be a little too hard for you to know what is that dream job. But now the next question is, what skills do you think are required for your dream job? And the last one is, how can you get the skills needed for your dream job? Those last 3 questions, you'll be able to answer them hopefully at the end of this session as we narrow down some career options and talk about different opportunities, whether you're working for a company, work for yourself, or you do something like a trade or whatever, or a certification type thing. So let's get into it. So the first section is going to be talking about exploring careers. Now, in the umbrella of careers, working, whatever, there's 4 categories, right? You can get something that's called a job. You can get something that's called a career or a profession or become an entrepreneur. Now with the job, the definition of a job is where you work a person, performs regularly in order to earn money. So the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of a job is like, let's just say McDonald's, right? Everyone uses that, like work at McDonald's, right? First job, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Jack in the Box, whatever it is, fast food. That for a lot of people, not everyone, but for a lot of people is a job because a lot of times they just see it as something temporary to pay some bills while maybe they're in school, maybe they're just, getting by, transitioning to another job, whatever it may be. It's not something people usually see themselves, there for very long. It's usually somewhere where you're just doing it to get some money or whatever it is to pay through school. Although that job can turn to a career because there's some people that end up working up the ranks and becoming a store manager or an HR and go to work. They don't just work at McDonald's now at the store, they work for corporate. So that's transitioning to the next one, which is a career, which is a job or profession that a person holds for a long period. I'm pretty sure most people do not want to be cashiers at McDonald's for 20 years, right? But after that job can turn to a career. And, one of the most interesting, jobs that I'm seeing right now that can turn into an amazing career. I was looking at, every time I go to Chipotle In 3 years, they have these little advertisements on all the tables. It says in 3 years you could become a store manager. You start off, work, whether it's in the registry, whether it's in the cooking in the back, I don't know, like $18, $20 an hour. This is based in California. But eventually in 3 years, if you work good, if you do your best, if you show up and you do your best work, right? You're not just slacking off. You can get a role as a manager at Chipotle making over 100,000 a year. And they offer all these amazing other benefits. So you could turn that job into career without college, without high school. So that's just an option. So we explain job, we explain career. Now, after career, there's another alternative. It's a profession. With the profession, although you might think it's similar to a career, it's not. It's a type of job that requires a special education, training, or skill. So I can think of a few. A lawyer, you need a special, training or a certificate, right? You got to pass a bar test and whatever. Nursing as well. You need a nursing license. A speech pathologist. All those jobs all these professions require a special education and training or skill. Electrician, you can't just become an electrician. You got to become an apprentice, or there's so many, so many jobs that fall under profession. And then the last one, entrepreneur, which is the process of developing and running a new business, totally new business to generate profit. Because at the end of the day, trying to make that money, right? To pay your bills, to do all these great things while taking on financial risk. The funny thing about this last one, entrepreneur, in the definition of this is all, I got this, I didn't make this up myself. These are the actual definitions. Is the fact that entrepreneur, out of the rest of them, is the only one that talks about risk, and more specifically financial risk. Because with the job, how much money you're going to make. If it's $20 an hour, you're always going to make $20 an hour. And depending on how many hours you work, right? A career, same thing. If you have a salary, how much you're going to make. Same thing with the profession. You could possibly even make more. There's stability because the money's going to be coming in unless you get fired, right? But there's other jobs, there's other careers, etc. But with an entrepreneur, you are the company. You have to rely on yourself and your skills and your knowledge. So if 1 month you don't make any money, then you don't make any money. But if another month you make $1 million, then you make $1 million. So an entrepreneur, there is some risk, but obviously there's more reward, because with all three here, you're kind of like, there's a limit to how much money you can make. But with an entrepreneur, Elon Musk is an entrepreneur and he's a multi-billionaire. But then your friend on Instagram has #entrepreneur and he probably makes $1,000 a month, $500 a month, selling something, right? So entrepreneur can mean the sky's the limit, honestly. You can make nothing, you could be losing money, or you could be making billions. So that's the difference between entrepreneur, profession, career, and job. Now, I just threw on a couple of different career paths, jobs, that might interest you. It's super not biased, super random. I threw a couple of these. Some of these you might know, some of these you might not know. So let's go with the first one. So a lawyer, and this is all based in California. So in California, a salary for a lawyer comes around an average salary of $135,000, but they can make all the way up to $253,000. Just to get your mind thinking of, okay, this is what the salaries. These are the salaries that some of these jobs are. A nurse practitioner, $139,000 is the average, and they can go all the way up to $187,000. Now, this is a good one, nurse practitioner, for a lot. This is a great alternative for a lot of young people that want to become doctors and don't want to do the whole, 15, 20 plus years of school. And then the money you got to spend, the student loans, $300,000, $400,000. I've even heard some stories of over $500,000 in student loans by the time they actually become a doctor. Now, this is a good alternative because if the high earners are making close to $200,000, but you don't have all that student loan debt, so that might be a good alternative, and it's less schooling, so it might be a good alternative. You could probably start as a nurse and then become a nurse practitioner, right? It's a good alternative. Now, another one that's marketing. Marketing is one that, 10 years ago, if you got a marketing degree or you said you work in marketing, everyone thought you were broke, because people that worked in marketing didn't really make much, because, you're talking about, newspapers, flyers and all that. But nowadays, marketing is a whole different world, with TikTok and Instagram and, YouTube and all these social media platforms. Marketing is everything for brands. Brands want to be on these platforms. They want to grow. So a director of marketing, the average salary is over 100,000, but some of these I've seen some crazy numbers. It depends on the company, right? But yeah, so that's another job that pays over 6 figures. IT manager, right? Information technology manager. With this one, A lot of times does not require a college degree. Same thing with the marketing one, does not require a college degree. A lot of times nowadays there's people that have, a social media account, TikTok, Instagram, and they have 100,000 plus followers compared to someone that has a college degree in marketing, right? Who do you think the company is going to want to hire? Probably the person that has already experience and knows how to grow a brand, right? Because if they already grew an account to 100,000, then maybe the company might prefer this person. So there's new jobs out there. There's new opportunities that might not require college degrees. These two are two right here. The lawyer and the nurse practitioner, you do need to go to school. It's different, right? And the last two, the last one is gonna, the last two are gonna be speech therapists, which is something. So that one is a little bit biased. That's what my, that's what my fiance is doing, or SLP, speech language pathologist. The average base salary is 118,000 a year, and that one not only requires a bachelor's, but it also requires a master's. But it's not as expensive as, for example, becoming a doctor. So it's a different alternative, or it's not as intense work hours or shifts as a nurse. And it's good pay, right? You can work at a school, you can work at a hospital, clinic, etc. So another alternative, maybe something you didn't know, you can check it out. And the last one, electrician. The average salary is 70,000, but there's many electricians that not only make more than that, make 100,000 plus, but eventually own their own business, and they're making a whole lot more money, of course, when you're owning your business. So, and this one does not require a college degree. It's more like an apprenticeships. It's I would call it more like a profession, something that you need a training or education for, specific education. Now, these six, all these, average salaries are, like I said, they're average salaries. So there's people that are making less than that, and there's people making a lot more than that, and most people are in the middle, around that range. And most of these careers or jobs, you're not going to start off making that. So don't graduate and think you're going to be making, in marketing, you're not going to become a director of marketing right away, right? You might have to work your way up, maybe, marketing manager, program, whatever, and then you work your way up. Same thing with the IT manager. Maybe you become an IT specialist and then eventually become a manager. So most of these aren't guaranteed right away. You can be making good income, but starting off, you're not making terrible income. You're making pretty good income. So good careers that we can go over. Now, at home, the next one, this is an activity they want you guys to do at home. So this worksheet, you don't have to, even if you don't have it at home, what you could do is just make like a T-chart. And what you're gonna do is I want you to look up two careers. So based off your skills that you have, based off, kind of the things that you're passionate for, look up different careers, look up, just maybe it's one of these that we just went over, or maybe it's other alternative one, or maybe you know what you want to do. And what you're gonna do is gonna break it down into two careers, right? Let's say number one right here, you put a lawyer, and then number one, let's say you put doctor, and number two, you put nurse practitioner, right? And then in the next section, you're gonna put the description. So you're gonna look up on Google, job description of a doctor, job description of a nurse practitioner, fill it in. And then the last thing is training, education. Look up how much training, education you need to become a doctor. Same thing with the nurse practitioner. And then look up the average income for both of these. When you start doing this and you start doing career research and you start learning, because at the end of the day, I know people say don't chase the money, be passionate, but you got to have an idea what they make too. You got to have an idea what type of training, education you need. You got to have an idea what does the day-to-day, look like, because the titles might sound nice, doctor, lawyer, but do you think you're really going to like that? Or director of marketing sounds cool. Oh, I'm just going to post TikToks all day, but it means more than that, right? You're probably going to do graphs for the company so you can show them improvement and growth, and you're going to have to track a lot of data. So you have to, if you do this is going to help you so much to narrow down what career path, what job you want to end up doing. And when you have two jobs or two career paths set next to each other, you can see the pros and cons. You can see the description. I don't like this job, but the pay is so much higher over here, but then the training is less over here. So you kind of start like looking at everything. You don't just look at the money, but you don't also just look at the title. You got to see the whole picture, because everything matters. The pay, the schedule, like the work-life balance, training, education, all that matters, okay? And a lot of people don't do this research. When you do this research, you're gonna be in a better place and you're not gonna be wasting time. Now, let's talk about sources of income. This is section 2. Just like this picture shows a check. Let's talk about sources of income. So the 5 most common sources of income or income streams is number 1 is going to be the most common primary salary. So everyone that works for someone, they're getting their check, their W-2. They're a W-2 employee. They're getting their paycheck every month, bi-weekly, weekly, whatever it is. That's your primary salary. Now, let's say you get married. Now you have your spouse's salary. That's the second most common. So now you guys have 2 incomes. Your household income is a little bit more. And the third most common is investment income. That comes in the form of investment plans like 401ks, Roth IRAs, regular brokerage account, because as you're investing, you're making a return, right? A return on your investment. Hopefully, right? That's the goal, right? To always make a return, whether you don't make it right away, a return over time, the goal is to make a return. That way we can see that beautiful compound interest, right? The fourth most common income stream is real estate income. Let's just say you're doing good, you and your spouse, you're almost close to paying off your house, and you refinance your house and go buy some properties, some rental properties, and you start making, some cash flow on these rental properties because you rent them out and the rent covers the mortgage, plus you have extra money. Well, that's real estate income. And the last one is side hustle income, the fifth most common one, which is, you work during the week, you have fun, but you have a passion of photography. So you go and take pictures at, you do wedding photography, let's just say, and you make some side income, right? That's a side hustle. It's just an example. Now, with primary salary, because most people are going to have just primary salary, and second one, after you get married, you'll have two salaries, but just in general, they're both salaries. You're both getting paid by someone, right? So with a primary salary, now let's just say you got your dream job, right? Now, what's the next step? Let's talk about how you get paid, taxes. You need to learn all these things because no one teaches this, right? Sometimes our parents don't teach us. Our school doesn't teach us, and then we get our first job, we get our paycheck, and we're like, what the heck? I thought I was gonna get paid $5,000. What does it say $3,500? Well, I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna show you what all these things mean. So gross income is a total income without deductions. If you start a job and they say you're gonna be paid $20 an hour, or you're gonna be paid $60,000 a year, that $20 or that $60,000 is your gross income. That's what you're supposed to be making, right? That's where you're getting paid. But Uncle Sam, the government, takes a chunk of your gross income to pay for different things like your school. School is paid by taxes. Policemen, police officers, in general, the whole police force is paid by your taxes. A lot of other stuff is paid by your taxes and social programs and etc. EBT and so much more. So when they take away that deduction, it lowers your income, right? Obviously, and depending what state you're in, depending where you are in life, and we'll look at the brackets in a bit. If you're single, if you're married, that will determine how much taxes you pay. So your gross income minus the taxes or deductions becomes net income, just like this graph shows right here. So your gross income, 60,000. Let's say deductions are 10,000. So your actual net income is 50,000. That's what you're going to see when you actually get your paycheck or your deposit. You're not going to see the full amount because Uncle Sam is always going to take a little, whether it's a little, a lot, or even more, depending what state you're in, right? This is what a paycheck usually looks like. Just to give you guys an example, right here shows the actual amount, $1,000. But after taxes, deductions, so we look here, Medicare, Social Security, federal tax, California state tax, all these are deductions that are going to lower your income from 1,000 minus 290.26 to 709.74. That's just an example. Over here on the left, when it says year to date, it simply means from the year started to now, how much you've made in gross income, how much deductions you've paid, and how much net income have you actually made. So this is what this person has actually made from year to date, and this is how much they made on their actual check for the week, because it looks like they get paid weekly. Now, let's talk about taxes real quick. A big myth with taxes is people think the more you make, it's bad to take a raise because you're gonna get taxed more. It's like, for example, right here, when people see, I don't want to get a raise from 44,000 to 50,000 because you see when you're making 44,000 or less, you only pay 12% in taxes. But if I make more than 44,000, I have to pay 22% in taxes, which is almost double, right? But no. The way our tax system works is every dollar within this range is taxed in that percentage. So let's say you get paid $44,726. So $1 more. Dang it. Now I'm over here. I pay 22%. No, only that dollar difference is taxed at 22%. Very, very important that you guys understand that. So it works in brackets. So depending, how much you get paid, that's what you're going to get taxed. So if you get paid $100,000 a year, you'd fall under right here, the 24% tax bracket. But everything under 95,000 is going to get, so 44 to 95, 22%, 11,000 to 44, 12%, and so on and so on. And now you guys can see, if you're single, you're going to end up paying more taxes. If you're married, you pay less taxes. If you're head of the household, you pay less taxes than single. So it just depends where you are. You'll pay more or less taxes. So you can see there's a benefit in being married and filing jointly. Not just being married, but filing jointly as well. So this is a little bit on taxes, a little, taxes 101. That way you guys can know. Now with benefits, when you guys get your first job, let's say you got your first job, you said, screw becoming a doctor, I'll just become a nurse practitioner. It's faster, you still make good income, and yeah, I'll just do it. Now you learned about taxes. So if they offer you a job, $100,000 a year, you're probably not going to be making that, especially in California. You're going to be making more like 70, 75, 65, something like that, depending if you're married, if you're single, etc. Now, on top of your income, you get benefits. So benefits come in the form of, paid vacation leave, sick leave, health insurance, dental insurance. There's even pet insurance at some places that they offer it, a retirement plan like a 401k, Roth IRA, life insurance, vision care, personal leave. On my first job, they offered us 2 days a year for mental health or just for whatever. You don't have to give a reason why. You just submit it, submit the request, and then it gets approved. So depending where you are, most companies though, they offer health insurance, dental, and life and retirement plan. Now, some companies go even more and beyond. They offer not just a retirement plan, but they offer what's called a match. So let's just say you're contributing to a 401k and they offer a match. Let's just say they offer a 10% match. That means it's 10% of your salary. They'll match it. If you make $100,000 a year, they'll be able to match $10,000. So it's like the number can vary depending on how much you make and how much the percentage of match is. So it's very important. Take advantage of these. So many millennials and Gen Z, young people like myself, are not investing into 401ks, are not investing into Roth IRA because they think retirement, they think old people. But no. Start doing it now. That way, when you are old, you don't have to work. You can, have financial freedom. Now, all these benefits are important, but here's a huge myth and a huge tip. Wait for this. You got to hear this. If you're getting your first career, first job, you can negotiate everything. A lot of people don't realize that you can negotiate everything. Let's say you try to negotiate your salary. They don't raise it up too much. They go from 100. They offer you 100. You go back and forth. You raise it up to 110, but you really wanted 120. Well, let's go back and look at the benefits. Let's say you able to negotiate more paid vacation leave, more sick leave, a better match, or maybe some stock options. Some companies do that. Big companies like Amazon, Google, they do stock options on top of the salary. So you can negotiate it all. If they're only giving you 10 vacation days and you wanted 120 salary, but they're only giving you 110, go back and forth and be like, hey, is it possible? I know, with the budget, you're not able to do 120,000 salary and you're offering me 110, which I'm super grateful, thankful, be respectful. Is there any way that we can, increase the amount of vacation time that I have? So there's so many things you can negotiate. Don't just negotiate your salary. You can negotiate where you work. For example, if it's a company where you can work remotely, be like, can I work remotely at least, half, or a hybrid style where I'm 3 days in the office, 2 days out, or I'm out Mondays and Fridays I'm at home, which are the best days to be at home. And then Tuesday to Thursday, I'll go to the office. So there's so many things you can negotiate. Remember, you can negotiate everything. And at the end of the day, if they say no, you're not losing anything. You're still getting the job. They're not going to be like, all right, you're taking away the job from you. And if they are, then you never wanted to work there because that's a toxic environment. Now, last thing is that we all have choices. Just like this picture shows right here. Whether you're doing 2 years in college, which gets you an associate's degree, 4 years gets you the bachelor's, or you become an entrepreneur and you own your own business, whatever it is, if you go to the military, and there's careers within the military, you have to make a choice. And the most important thing is there is no right path. We don't want everyone to become a doctor. We don't want everyone to become, an entrepreneur. We don't want everyone to become, we don't want everyone to do let me take that back. Entrepreneur, you could do that while working too. But we don't, imagine everyone was a doctor, right? That would be nuts. Who are going to be doing our taxes? Who's going to be, taking care of our kids? Who's going to be, checking us out at the grocery store, at the registry? We need everyone. Everyone matters. It's like a big old body. Everyone has a little part and role in it, right? The organs, the heart, and everything. There is no right path. And everyone has unique values, goals, passions, dreams, and skills. And we're all in different parts in our life. Don't compare yourself to someone that started 10 years ago. Compare yourself to yourself. If you're improving, if you're growing from last year, if Josh from 2022 is at the same place at 2023 and again in 2024, I haven't grown, then that's my fault. But I can't compare myself to my friends or my family. I have to compare myself to myself only. I got to focus on my growth and what I'm doing. So very, very important, guys. There is no right path. And everyone has unique values, goals, passions, dreams, and skills. And at home, something you could do that would be amazing. Just like the other activity that I shared, you can I just found this, different jobs, and it kind of breaks down more the job descriptions, training, education, average income. Do that at home. Once you fill out that paper that we talked about in the beginning, when you find maybe 2, 3, 4, even 5 different careers, you put a job description, you put the training, education needed, and the average income. Go ahead and go home and try to answer these 4 questions. Choose one of those career paths. List the skills that you think are needed for this career. For example, software developer. One skill that I know is tech savvy. You got to know how to use a computer. If you don't know how to use a computer in this job right here, software developer, then you're not going to be in a good place, right? So list the skills that you think you're going to need. Explain why you chose this job or career, right? And the last one is try to calculate what your net income will roughly be. Whether you're in California, New York, Texas, you could literally look up online and see, salary, tax calculator, or whatever. There's so many resources online, so you can kind of see, okay, so after taxes, this is what I'm actually going to be taking home. And these jobs right here, let me bring this back real quick. These are all, I looked it up. These are the top 10 careers in 2023. So we have software developer, data scientist, registered nurse, cybersecurity engineer, project manager, physician assistant, which is a great alternative to being a doctor, like the nurse practitioner, web developer, DevOps engineer, artificial intelligence engineer. That one's gonna probably be huge. Mechanical engineer. So as you guys can see, a lot of STEM, like STEM related engineering type stuff. Project manager doesn't fit the STEM, but most of these are like engineering, software development, STEM, or some sort of science. So you can kind of see where we're at in 2023. These are just some examples of jobs. Maybe you can kind of see and maybe take a little pause and see the income, the training, education, and the job description. But yeah, answer these 4 questions, and hopefully with doing all this, it's going to help you determine what career path you want to take, whether you're in high school, middle school, college, or you're currently an adult in a job that you probably hate, or you're in a business that's failing and you try to figure out what else should I do, right? So this workshop is going to be for you. Share it with your friends and family. That way they're also empowered. And if you want to contact us, you can find us on LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Gmail. There's my Gmail, email, jrincon@idiocdc.com, and on Instagram. Again, thank you so much for joining us in today's presentation. My name is Josh Rincon, Program Director here at Avance Latino. Happy to serve you and teach you and empower you with everything that we can. See you in the next one.